We are now live on the AL1CE Stream Sundayz stream. We've got a really special guest today. Her name is HAEZL, the artist HAEZL, and she is a good friend of ours. We've known and worked with her for a while in various capacities. Tash's children's book, she actually illustrated it. So that's one awesome thing, and we've just always been friends. So we're just very happy to bring you on the stream today to our Stream Sundayz.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So excited to be here.
So awesome. And we got Steve, and we got Tash. So,
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm seeing some familiar faces and some new faces. Thanks so much. Zachary, Ed, Be Like No One, Temperius, Charles, and Jessica on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining us today. And hello to Antonio and Joanne. Hope y'all are doing well. Yes, Nicole and I met when I actually was doing my very first opera. We were doing Magic Flute together. And I just remember being so blown away by her incredible voice and presence. And just a general awesomeness. I was like, we need to be friends. Yeah. So we've had many musical adventures since then. And yes, she is the incredible illustrator of the children's book. So that is something as well that we've gotten to collaborate on, which is awesome. So hi, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Hello. I love it. Yes, I forgot it was Magic Flute because we also did Lucia.
So we did Lucia.
Lammermoor too. I had found
and there was something else.
Yeah, what else? There's been a lot of adventures.
Yeah, many adventures.
Yeah, adventures. So
yeah,
I love. And I was going through photos. The opera scenes. Remember opera scenes? Yeah, because I was going through all these photos just recently, and I found all these photos with you and I in them. And I was like, this is great. It goes back at least
I love that.
a decade. At least a decade.
That's amazing.
Well, for people that are here on the stream with us, come on and hang out with us. One thing we love to do is answer questions. So if anyone has any questions for the band or for Nicole specifically, feel free to ask. Nicole's done a lot of stuff, like Tash was saying, like everything from opera. She's in a synthwave project called 2D Cat. She self-produces her own music under the name of HAEZL. And what else? Oh, you also sing in the U.S. Army Band. That's right. Pretty amazing.
That is my day job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty of questions y'all have. So
yeah, absolutely.
Nicole, are you?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. Go ahead.
I was asking if there's a way I can see the folks. Do I just go to the Twitch?
Yeah, you could go to
go ahead. Sorry. No, you.
I was gonna say, like, people tend to congregate in the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel. Twitch sometimes, there'll be some people there, but most people seem to gather on the YouTubes or the Facebook.
Okay, sounds good.
But,
the Facebooks.
But yeah, we'll be monitoring for any questions.
Okay.
So Ed Webb is asking where you can get the book. And that's online, actually. We can send that link to you. Temperius is saying, thank you for your service, Nicole, from a fellow vet.
Woohoo!
That's awesome.
Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah.
Yes.
I don't know which one they are, but
nice.
I remember when you were first going through the process of joining the Army Band, and just so blown away by all the things that you did to get ready for it. Can you share your process? And because for those of us that are unfamiliar, how did you go about getting in the U.S. Army Band?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's interesting now. I'm in a more leadership managerial position because it's been 8 years. And so yeah, I'm familiar with watching other people go through this too, and of course, I'm like remembering all of it. It's chaos. Like getting into the well, first you have to have an audition to get into the premier band. So we do hire people. Most of us have master's degrees, doctorate degrees in music. Hire people from all over the country, even people, you know, internationally. And it's a really grueling process, like a full day audition, which we're going to be having another audition in March too. For soprano, we're hiring one more soprano. One more.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's
What's the
pretty
audition
grueling.
date? What's the audition date like?
The audition day is nuts. We have everyone come in and well, first we do pre-screen. So we have to select people out of the pre-screen. So we just did that. And then we have people come in. The first chunk of the day is solos, national anthem, and we sometimes do like a group selection just to kind of see. And then we select from there. And then we keep certain people for the rest of the day. And then usually by the end of the day, if we found someone we're ready to hire, we offer them the position on the spot.
Wow.
They do have to go through basic training, so they do have to enlist in the Army to be a singer,
Yeah.
yes. So once you pass all the medical screening, which is horrible, and then you get your ship date and you enlist into the US Army, you ship off to basic training, you have 10 weeks of throwing grenades and being called out by drill sergeants for being
Perfect environment for a musician.
You're in the Army.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the yelling is great. All the sickness, it's just. And then when you're finished with that, you get sent over to Pershing Zone, and we get you all set up in the unit, and you start, you know, slowly performing, and that's the process, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's behind me. It's interesting seeing the new people come in too. But yeah, if you're curious about that, that's how it goes.
Is there a singer like basic training as well, where you're just like, okay, 10 weeks, we're doing scales all morning, then we're
Dude, that's
No,
the kind of
but
army
that'd
I
be
wanna
really
be.
cool for musicians. I kind of want to do
there
that
actually
as a
is. There
drummer.
is, not for
Is
the
there?
premier bands. So the
Okay.
premier bands, they hire people who have a certain level already, but there's the 42 Romeos, which are just the normal Army bands, and they go through the Army School of Music. So after they do basic training, they actually go through music school through the Army, and we have our own music school.
Wow.
And then they disperse into the bands that support like the basses and the ceremony music at the basses. They do a lot more Army oriented stuff than the special bands,
Yeah.
but they do get that. They do get training through musical training through the Army.
So cool, man.
It's crazy. It's a huge,
Wow.
the Army is a huge supporter. The military is a huge supporter of music.
Yeah.
Because it's diplomatic and it's about getting the people involved and relating to the people. It's about supporting our veterans. I mean, it's huge.
That's
it's
amazing.
important. Yeah.
And then what kind of performances do you do? I'm sure it ranges between a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we do everything from, you know, retirement homes to singing at the White House.
Wow.
So we do outreach, we do kids,
Wow.
you know, we do schools. We'll go to schools and we'll do outreach at schools, and
Yeah.
we'll, you know, they'll ask us all the questions like, you know, what weapons do we carry? We're like, none. Our
This
voices.
right here is my weapon.
Yeah. And then, you know, we'll be doing White House events, visits, state visits, and things like that. State funeral.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That is
crazy.
so impressive.
It's a great opportunity. Yeah. I love it.
I am very impressed.
So you're getting oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I had a friend who tried to do the Army band, but it's apparently very hard to get in. So I mean, it's just amazing. You went in and you got in, and now you've been there, and it's like that's your thing. That's awesome. So congrats.
Yeah, I definitely love it. And I love the freedom that it's given me to pursue my own music.
Yeah.
It's hard for artists to find that stability that they can also do what they, you know, are passionate about, which is, you know, electronic music and things like that. Without the job that I have now, I don't know if I would have even had the ability to build my studio and start doing it, just because it's a stable job. It's a stable, good job.
Yeah.
And so it took that, and now I have this, and I'm very, very pleased. So
are you in your studio right now?
I am. This is the first time I've been streaming from it.
Okay.
go. Took a second to fix the. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's actually I've got some lights up here too, and yeah, I'll put that light on.
Definitely vibe.
But total vibe. Gotta have a vibe. Gotta have a vibe. So yeah.
So Ed Webb on YouTube is asking, how long have you been in the Army? He was in for 15 years. That's amazing. Thank you for your.
Wow. Yeah. 15 years is great. Yeah. Thank you for your service. I've been in 8. I will be in 9 next January. So going on my 9th year. Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's so cool that like, and it's something a lot of people might not be as aware of, is that like music and art is absolutely incorporated in government work. We went abroad ourselves through the U.S. State Department to both Algeria and also Uzbekistan as part of like a cultural envoy program, like bridging worlds through art and music. And I just love that like music has a way of being able to like bring like everyone together like that. So
it's the diplomacy. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
absolutely.
When was that? That's so cool.
I forget.
2012 and 2016.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
our
so cool.
Yeah. Our song Breathe actually was inspired from our trip to Algeria. We were like we were immersed in just this incredible music and culture, and the drums and the rhythms and the grooves and the way that they would sing like really inspired us to write that song. And just what we were doing, it was again like connecting people through music. So that was an inspiration when we went there. So yeah.
I totally believe that. I can hear that inspiration in that song. And I meant to ask you because I was listening to it and I was like, wow, that has such a flair to it, like a Middle Eastern flair. I couldn't put my finger on like what it was.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very
I
cool.
think it's such a great, thing. I've experienced this myself. Like, when you're, like you were saying, the service part and the diplomacy, so I mean, like across the board, I always meet people that love some kind of music. So,
Right.
and you can, even if you don't speak the same language, like, it's really fun to be like, okay, do you know this artist or this artist? And singing the songs, like people are able to at least sing certain songs, like the Beatles, things like that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So cool to experience the different instruments and the instrumentation too. But everybody at the same time, it's just a reminder that everybody is human and we're all bonded and, we all love music. And it's just so interesting to see how it manifests in different cultures. But like at the same time, it's all the same. It's very emotion driven and stuff. It's just
the purpose of it is the same almost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So inspiring.
Yeah. And even just like oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like just like universal language,
Yeah.
It is, yeah, and it is a language, even down to like how we speak it, the scales and whatnot, and then the musical language is completely different in other countries, and how they decided to write it down, if they even did write it down, because some cultures didn't even write it down. It's all passed on orally. So that's fascinating too, the different languages of music. I mean, Western music is not the end all be all of it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
almost limited if you start thinking about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So cool. I love it.
So what have you been up to these days? I know that you've been working with 2D Cat, which is amazing. I mean, it's such great music, and HAEZL as well. Yeah, tell us about what's been going on.
Sure. Yeah. So 2D Cat's awesome. And I know a lot of Alice fans like 2D Cat, which is weird. So weird. Because we got hooked up through a friend in the military that he was looking for a singer in DC. And she was like, oh, I know one that's going to be perfect. And so we started making music. Then we started realizing I was like, oh, I'm friends with the band Alice. And he was like, a lot of their fans like my music. I was like, that's so weird. So there's this like crossover there that was totally random. 2D Cat does synth pop, and if he's out there, hi, he said he was going to join the stream.
He's on the Twitch, yes.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes.
Hi, 2D Cat. Yeah, 2D Cat's awesome. We're going to play with Alice on April 24th in DC.
Yes.
I think I got the date right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open, and he's very excited. We're very excited. It's been great. It's been almost a year, I think, since we've been writing music. And honestly, we started writing music together across the country. He was in San Francisco, I'm in DC. He'll be moving to DC soon, so we're going to have a lot more going on with that. But it's been really great also getting, some coaching from him on like music production. So I've been producing my own stuff. Finally got to the point where I could do everything to a degree that wasn't embarrassing. And I had to simplify a lot. And I know Scott probably knows this because he mixed some of my music. I'm so sorry.
No, it was great. Like I loved working.
There's 90 tracks for you to try to figure out what the heck I was thinking. Go.
No, I mean, it's so great though. It's like you've just been working on it. I mean, that's how you get better at it, just by doing it. So it's like you've just been doing it, and as you do it, you figure out what like really works for you, and like then you like start hearing things. So it's awesome to like hear the progression as I like, I've been watching and listening as you've been developing your own music, and so it's awesome to hear it come together. So,
your mixes were like those are my two of my favorite songs. Werewolves is like one of the more popular ones too, and I love what you did with it. And I remember like there was, because you did some production on it, and I remember thinking sounds like some Alice in there, and then I listened, I was like, he added a little bit of bass. I was like, I love that so much. I love it. But now I understand, like, sometimes you got to readjust the instruments because they're hitting the wrong, anyways, I learned a lot. So thank you. And I love those tracks. They're some of my favorites.
Well, speaking of which, Jessica Davis is saying she loves your song Werewolf. It is so energizing and powerful.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. That one gets a lot. It gets a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Dusty is asking if you decided if a song is a HAEZL song or a 2D Cat song.
So 2D Cat does the production for and the writing for 2D Cat. So I do the vocals on his songs and the lyrics. So that's our combined effort. So I don't write any of the synth parts. I don't write any of but for HAEZL, I do all of it. So HAEZL is, just pretty much my alone at home project. And then 2D Cat lab that we have. So yeah.
And do you
also
write melodies?
Sorry, go ahead, Steers.
Do you write melodies and stuff too in 2D Cat or
like he'll just send me he'll send me a track, and it's perfect. It's so perfect. I was looking for that forever ago when my band, my indie rock band, broke up like, I don't know, 7 years ago. And I was like, I just want to write vocals and record vocals and focus on harmonies and expression and lyrics. And so that's why I started my own thing. So I was like, I don't have anyone to do it with. I'm just going to start writing my own thing. And that evolved, and then 2D Cat came. I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. So it's been great. Yeah, it's been great. We've written some real bangers, and I think we have another one coming out soon. Just had a song, another one. Do you guys have any new songs coming out?
Yeah, we've been working on some new music. Working on the second half of our album, our double album. So we're on the So Below half of the As Above, So Below. Yeah, so we've already been releasing like some of the singles that are going to be on it. But yeah, that's the big thing this year is working on that new music. So yes,
we have one we just recorded and it's in the production stage and end stages of it. So hopefully it'll come out pretty soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Good one.
Yeah, it'll probably be out by the time
album.
we hit the road.
Okay, gotcha.
At least the song will be out by then.
Yeah, I love that double album idea and the concept. Does it have an overarching concept? I'd love to hear it.
So yeah, we did a creative writing retreat in Joshua Tree in January of 2020, before like everything happened in 2020. And it was interesting because we actually came out with, I want to say, like 20 something songs in that time that we were together. And we were like, wow, like I feel like there's so many songs, and with a similar theme. It's sort of like we were exploring life and death and the concept of the tree of life and the breaking of chains and finding one's freedom. And so our friend Daphne is the artist that created the album art for that, because we were musing with her as we were writing the album, and she just came up with this beautiful art where it's, you see the female figure in the breaking of her chains. And so those are themes that we've been exploring, is finding freedom and mortality and in all its forms too, not just like literal physical death, but the letting go of certain chapters and the fact that there is a phoenix that comes from those ashes. So
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Symbol of the phoenix is definitely great. I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it cycles through the whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've been actually the next song that's going to be released is called Me and You. And we're also playing around with like reflections and mirrors and looking into oneself. So that's been also like kind of an overarching theme that we've been exploring. So
like see me.
Like see me, exactly. Yes.
Nailed it.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's really fun to get to like when you do like you realize what the theme is. Sometimes you don't, right? Like when you're writing a series of songs and it kind of reveals itself once they're all written. But sometimes it's like, and so you're like, okay, afterwards you're like, now I actually get it. And a lot of times I find that it's very representative of my life as I'm going through it. Just not realizing it until the songs are written.
Totally.
Yeah.
That means you're fully in that stream of consciousness where it's coming out of a almost that dream state where it's buried, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Authentic place. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely dive into that place quite a bit.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Yay.
We have this
sometimes you look back at your older work and you're like, oh wow, we've really changed. But it's an honest reflection of like where you are in the moment. And so you think back to the time, you're like, okay, this is where we are right now. We put it out into the world and then move on to the next,
Right.
It's fun to look back. But
yeah, that's so true. It's fun. It also can be not fun because you're like,
yeah,
oh,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Awkward.
It's
honestly, I find it's more painful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look back and you're like, okay.
Yeah. But there's something honest about it. It's like, okay, that's what it was at the time.
You're right.
It makes it a little easier to put things out too, like not be such a perfectionist about it. Like, oh, this has to be perfect. It's just like, no, this is good. This is honest. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. That's a better way to look at it too, and honor yourself and honor your past. Sometimes because so much of what we do is personal, I think that's probably why we judge it, judge ourselves more than anything.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But honoring yourself is so hard to do and is so important in that process of reflection on your art, for sure. You have to honor your process, honor your person, honor who you are. So
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is like when you are willing to share and release, that part of yourself, the art expression of yourself into the world, it's sort of like, I feel like it's one of those things where you're also reflecting to other people and holding up a signpost like, hey, you're not alone in your own experience. Like if you can relate to this, just know that you're not alone. Like we're all kind of going through this together. I think that's the beauty of it, is that you're reflecting your own humanity to other people.
Yes. I feel like that's the whole purpose too. Because I question that a lot. And I think even on my run, I was like, why do I do it? Like, I can't stop. I'm not going to stop. Like, but I don't like, why do I actually do it? And I was like, I couldn't really put my name on it, because sometimes it's for that reason of like, I want people to see it. But other times it's like, I just have to. I still have to figure out, why do I have to? There's something else underneath there that's driving it,
Yeah.
Deep-seated something. I don't know what it is.
And maybe it's the need to connect, and that need to share and to feel like you're participating in something bigger than yourself. Maybe that's what it is, like a purpose. Like it gives you a purpose. But yeah, it definitely, I was like, I don't know, why do I do this? I don't know, I'm gonna keep doing it.
You're
This is
also
true.
you're also a very talented visual artist too. So I was
Thanks.
interested, the two of you collaborated for the awesome children's book that is
Yeah.
like awesome, and really people seem to really are drawn to it, you know, we're out on the road and stuff. So how did that come about, you guys?
I mean, I remember you asking me. I don't remember your
Yeah, it's
process
funny
of
because
like, yeah, I'm
I
fuzzy.
don't remember how I discovered that you were a visual artist. I just remember I think you showed me some of your work and I was just like, wow, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. Like you are definitely one of those like multi-hyphenated talented artists. Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And you know, I had this the writing part of it, you know, finished. And I remember approaching you about it, and you were it was I love that in our relationship, like you've it's always been a heckin' yeah. Like, you know, like
Heckin' yeah.
heckin' yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I know.
yeah, and then
What
it
year?
was a
We took it off too. We took time off of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just found a flow with it. Like once we found the flow with it, like it all just like kind of came together. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was and also as we came back to it after my transition in the military, which was really hard for me, and I remember just thinking, "No, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna finish it
Mm.
because this is really important, and I want to be able to create this with
Mm.
you." So I was just we sat down and we nailed it out, like, it took, I don't know, maybe 3 months after we came back to it.
mhm,
Didn't take very long, and
yeah.
then Scott helping, format it all because that was challenging too. We all had to learn how to, like,
Yeah.
format a book.
Yeah. No, that was like, all right, how do you like make a book? With helping.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
It's like we're sending these things back and forth,
Such
like, trying to fit it in, like, "I think it should go
such
like this."
yeah. I mean, it was such good experience, because now it's like now we could just like make a book,
Now we know how to make a
like
book.
know how to make it.
Yes.
So
Now I know how to make a
I mean,
book.
it's
That's what
freaking
it's
awesome.
about, see? It's like you can't stop. You have to do it, right? You have to get those
Yeah.
experiences. You have to make the things. You have to make the
Mhm.
things.
Yes, yes. I
So,
love this.
yeah.
I love this question from Jessica Davis. It's for Alice as well as Hazel. When writing songs, how do you keep from having a writer's block? I am an award-winning published poet, which is amazing, but I can go years without being able to write.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, like that's you know, I can say for myself, I've heard people say, "Oh, there's no such thing as writer's block," and I'm like, "Well, that's nice for you."
Yeah.
I have absolutely experienced writer's block, and I can commiserate on that. But I think for me, like I've just learned how to give myself the grace of needing to have the pause. Like sometimes I feel like it's like you have to fill your well. Like
Yes.
I think as creatives, like we output so much, we put so much pressure on ourselves to output, and then we
Mm.
will go for dry spells. And sometimes I think that's like when you need to live some life. You know, I had a teacher once tell me, you know, he was like, go to a museum, like, you know, go to a show, do things that inspire you. And I was like, I really took that to heart. So it's like I personally like to go out in nature. So I'll go on a hike, or take a walk. And then if nothing is coming out, I'm like, you know, this is just not the time for things to come out. But then I've been learning like having an active daily practice. So I give myself, I work well on quotas. So I'm like, okay, like when I was working on the children's book, for instance, I was like 4 lines a day. I know it sounds like it's so small, but I was like, as long as, and I'm some of it I might not use. And just again, giving yourself the grace and permission to go like, you know, I might write things that aren't used, but at least I'm writing. And so you're in the practice. And the same thing with the songwriting and the same thing. I'm also working on a short story right now. It's just, I'm like just a small amount like every day and it adds up. Like after, you know, some weeks you're like, oh, I have more words that are all together. So I don't know. What about y'all? What are your
I I have
approaches
some
to writer's block?
some suggestions. And it's not like a real like specific instructions, but it's basically like I find that for me, when you set limitations, especially like for me, like writing music, coming up with musical ideas, as an electronic music artist, you have access to pretty much every sound in the world. Every single person who sits in front of their computer can open up GarageBand or Logic and have like literally like 10,000 sounds right at their fingertips. I find that for me, and you could probably apply this to any medium. You take away all those sounds and just limit yourself to like one specific thing or one idea. You know, at least with music, it's like, okay, how can I write a full song or a full idea with just one single instrument, which is like, could be the guitar, or it could be, you know, like a violin sound or something. You know, it could just, you know, that sort of limitation for me is really conducive for creating like, okay, how it sort of opens up the palette, you know, in a weird way by limiting yourself. And I feel like you could probably apply that to writing, you know. Maybe give yourself an exercise where you're like, you know, okay, like let's just write about this one specific thing, you know, or let's write about the color orange. Like how can I describe the color orange in a way that's never been described before like this, you know?
That's awesome.
That's so true.
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. One
and
of the
it's
ways
the same process, the music and the writing. I mean, it's the same, comes from the same.
For sure. Yeah, one of the things that I do is I become a fan. So I go out and I like go to a show or I go to try and see music.
Oh yeah.
I just sit there and I just absorb whatever somebody else is doing. And a lot of times I come away and all of a sudden I'm like, yes, that's what I want to be doing. And all of a sudden all these new ideas come that don't, you know, I didn't have before I went out to the show or whatever it is. So yeah.
I think that makes so much sense. And I regret that I don't do that enough. Honestly, Alice is one of like the only bands I really go to see. Because I think you guys are amazing. So I want to see you. I have a hard time going to shows because I do it as a living, right? So it's like I really have to want to go and be there. But you're right. Like when I do, I'm very inspired. And I think that's because like what Tosh said, looking at it like we're a filter. I look at myself like I'm a filter for life. Like my art, I'm the filter, my art comes out, life goes in, and sometimes like a prism, you know, and sometimes I just need life to keep happening so I can let it stew and then it'll come out naturally. But if you accept the fact, oh, I'm just absorbing right now. I'm just absorbing. Things are just coming to me right now. That's okay. It always comes back. It always comes back. And I just chill out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to watch some TV. I'm going to do stuff that I don't do when I'm like working on my stuff. So then eventually get enough stuff out of it.
Oh yeah. It's like a fire. It goes way down and then it starts to come back. It's just there.
Yeah. Good analogy too.
I love what Tootie Cat is saying. I usually go in an opposite but similar stance. Can't write, just focus on sound design. And then after a while, you come up with a sound. Then it just kind of writes itself.
Oh, that's
I love that wisdom.
I like
that's
that.
Awesome.
Just actually, it comes out of the sounds. That's really cool. Yeah,
I love that.
I could see that.
Yeah,
being
that's
inspired
awesome.
by a particular sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could really relate with that. Like sometimes like yeah, I saw you your video got frozen, but it sounds like you're there, but we don't see you though.
I know video won't start. I'm mysterious now.
I
hope it's not frozen. I hope it's not frozen in a really horrible. Oh, there I am.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Like
no, that's like the best when it freezes when you get like a weird face on, you know.
Yeah, no thanks. Pass on that, but it probably was. Sorry. Please don't screenshot that. I missed what Tootie Cat said.
Oh, I'll read it to you again. So Tootie Cat was saying that usually goes in an opposite but similar stance. Can't write, just focus on the sound design. And then after a while, you come up with a sound that just kind of, and then it just kind of writes itself.
Nice.
I love that. Yeah.
That's true too. Like work on the technical stuff when you're like the artsy stuff is, or the more creative, not creative, but the more fluffy stuff is not coming. Like work on the technical stuff, the fluffy stuff.
For sure. Yeah. I actually the song Love Is Forever, the beginning a lot of the times, like I'll get an idea just specifically from the sound, very similar to 2D Cat, where it's like you find a sound or a texture, and it just like tells you a story. You know, like our song "Love Is Forever" was very much like that for me, where it was like I was just playing around with my Juno. I have like the old like original Juno 6, and putting it through like a Strymon delay and reverb. It sounded like the most like beautiful sound I could ever imagine. And I was like, there's a song being written just by playing one single note, and you could just hear all this sound, a story being told, you know? So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that. That's inspiring. That's really inspiring.
So Jessica is saying that problem is that the words come to you when you're able to, and you're unable to write them down. When you go to write it down, the words are lost. But when I'm able to get the words out, they're phenomenal. And I, you know, actually, I use my phone, my voice notes, that's why how I capture a lot of my ideas, whether melodies or lyrics or poems myself. I love the technology of just being able to grab my phone. Because I feel you, like I get a lot of my ideas in the shower or when I'm driving, and I'm like, really, Muse? Like, really, you're gonna taunt me like that?
Yeah.
Well, electrical was like that for you, right, Tosh?
So electrical was written after a show. We were playing in North Carolina, and it was like it was 3 o'clock in the morning. The band's all asleep. And so I'm like, can't wake anyone up. So I go tiptoe out into the hallway, and I'm like singing in the hallway, hoping no one comes. So I don't want to be that weird girl like crouching in the hallway.
Oh, you were definitely were the weird.
You were girl, y'all. I don't know, weird girl.
Yeah.
Too late.
That's awesome.
Oh man. But yeah, that's actually, it all just came out all at once. It was like melody, lyrics, the idea was there. And so yeah, and if I just fallen asleep, if I had just been like, you know what, I'm just gonna try to capture this tomorrow, I would have been right there with you, and electrical never would have happened. So yes, I'm glad I was the creepy girl in the hallway.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta like, excuse yourself, I need to go write something down.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I have no shame in being that person, you know, when I'm hanging out where I'm suddenly like, okay, hold on, I have to like write this down. So yeah,
for sure. I think I've done that at work too. I'm like,
oh yeah. I used to wait tables, and like on the, you know, on the notepad that you carry to like write down orders, had so many lyrics. Like it's like, because people watching, it's so easy to people watch when you're working at a diner.
Oh my God, so much information from that.
So much information, so much inspiration. So yeah, it was like I totally was taking orders, but I was also writing lyrics.
So your lyrics were like cheeseburger, and it was all of a sudden like
man in hat, man in
hats, yes.
Wants more coffee and he's annoying me.
That's
like Waitress, like the musical Waitress. That's a good musical. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen this one.
I haven't seen it either. We've been doing some music from it. It's actually quite good. It's Sarah Bareilles. It's her musical.
Okay.
It's actually quite good. And the harmonies and stuff are as interesting as you would think from someone with her like musical background.
Yeah, really cool.
So cool. I'll have to check that out. So Sean Lammers is asking, to be so deeply involved in music production, do you ever find times when it becomes too overwhelming and you need to take a step back? And what do you do to recalibrate? Thank you, by the way, for these amazing questions.
That's a really good question. I think like the question is basically like, do you get overwhelmed when you're in the midst of a music production? And I feel like it does happen. And it's really easy to rectify, because it's important to give yourself breaks. You know, you have to like, even like, especially if you're like trying to like do a lot of mixing, and if you get too lost in it, you know, it's like you just sort of start forgetting the overall picture. And I feel like for music and production, like that's really important is to always have that vision of like the overall sound of what you want it to sound like. And once you just get lost too far, you got to take a step away, you know. And And if you're in that situation and you're like, and you feel a little lost, something I like to do, and if you want to like try to keep going, what I like to do is I'll make a mix of like whatever it is I'm working on, and I'll throw it on my phone, and I'll just throw it on the floor, and I'll play it on my phone in another room, and I'll listen to it from another room besides that, and I'll just like for some reason it forces me to hear the song as if it wasn't like my own song or whatever. It's just, it sounds like someone else's song, and then you hear it almost like you're listening it to the first time, and it's important. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's important to take a step away from it, even when you're like just jamming, like especially towards the end of it, where you're like, okay, we got to get it out at this, this date, release date, and everybody's kind of full throttle with it. It's so important to be like, okay, it's done, great, awesome. Now take a week away, don't listen to it, like, and then come back to it, because when you come back to it, you always hear things where you're like, wait a second, whoa. It's so important. So yeah.
I feel like step away in general is always kind of like a good approach, like the pause, we were talking about, because sometimes if you over listen to something, I feel like you just kind of lose perspective,
Sure.
you just kind of get in the weeds, so it's actually really good to like kind of take a step away and then come back to it, and then it's like fresh ears for sure.
We were just saying that yesterday too, with even with the live playing, like when we tour, obviously you get tighter and tighter, and you get really in it, and it gets really in. I mean, it's awesome. But then when we take some time off and then come back to it, start rehearsing again, all of a sudden we all have these new ideas, and like, for this tour, there's already new stuff, even with songs that we have played before, where you're like, this is different. Like our last rehearsal, Scott and you and Gordon were like doing all sorts of new things where I never heard it before. I'm like, that is so cool. And I felt like I was also, kind of trying new things out. So that space is always awesome.
I freaking love when that happens, when you're like in a live situation, because it's one thing when you're like sitting in front of a computer, or you're just like recording and mixing and producing stuff, but like when you're in a room with people, you get a chance to like really like breathe a whole new kind of life into the music, but yeah, I think we lost HAEZL for a second, but I think she's coming back.
Yes,
there she is.
Yes,
we got double HAEZL. Are you here? Uh-oh. Oh,
I'm not sure.
I think we lost your audio.
So we actually got a really cool question about, Nicholas was asking if we ever keep a notepad or art pad besides our bed, because they get their best ideas when they're sleeping. And I keep a dream journal. I love, like, first thing, like I feel like my brain, it's an interesting state between wake and dreams. And so I absolutely love keeping that little notepad by the bed for sure.
Yeah, totally.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
You're back. Yay.
Yay.
My HAEZL song, I actually dreamt the whole thing, and it inspired the whole HAEZL situation. When I dream music, it's always been in a weird key. It's like in ways that I can't, I'll go and I'll try like replay it or something, and it doesn't work. This one I was able to just play the whole song, all the chords, all the melody.
Wow.
The lyrics were there. So the whole song I dreamt the whole song. And so I was like, I think this is a sign that I need to be getting my own music and producing it. And so that was the song Indigo. I did it on GarageBand with the little instruments. I recorded my vocals with a Blue Yeti mic, and I sent it to a very professional audio engineer I work with at the Army Band. And he was like,
cool.
Sure, I'll make it sound good. And he did. And that started the whole thing. But it was all from a nap. And it was a nap. Because those are the weirdest ones. Was naps.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
I have really strange dreams, so it'd be weird to like try to turn them into music or songs. It's very strange.
Yeah, that's
anyways.
You're creative. I think that's part of it, right? Comes with the territory.
For sure. Yeah.
So Ed Webb is asking, are any of your songs inspired by your art or your visual art or vice versa?
Well, I think, and everyone at Alice can probably say the same thing, that the visual art with the music kind of goes hand in hand, that they often inspire each other. I sometimes write a song and I can't wait to make the cover art or, dive into like a visual aspect of it. Sometimes I write a song purely just thinking about how great the video is going to be, even, I don't do a video,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that they do it's like, especially when you're a producer or you are self-produced, like we all are, it's that whole package that we're really inspired by, I think, too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I feel with the lights too. Like light design, like sometimes it's just like so obvious. Like we're playing a song and I just all of a sudden have all these like ideas that are just like overflowing. I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait to like put this to a vision. Like other times it's not as obvious, but like there are certain ones where it's just like, oh my gosh, I see it already. It's just like, yeah, it's awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Do you do the lights?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, good.
On the lights.
Yeah, I was about to say, for those that don't know, Steve is our lighting designer as well.
Nice.
As playing
That's
the drums.
Awesome. So many,
I
all
think
of you wear so many hats.
I absolutely love when we have a new song and Steve will be like, oh, I can literally see the lights. And I'm like, I know it's going to be amazing. So.
The lights on this one are going to be rad.
I know.
So cool. Well, lighting does so much.
It's really extensive of the extension of the music, and I feel like it's very related to drums because it's all the timing and all the just. It sort of put what I play, what I'm playing into a visual medium, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because a lot of times the drums will cue it. The changes in the drums are part of the main cues on that. So that's very cool. I love lights. Lights are awesome, but they're heavy. They're expensive. Someone brought a little smoke machine to our, not the last show, but the show before that. And I was like, can I use it? I had so much fun with that thing, turning on and off, and then
yes,
and he had some lights. He left us some lights. I was like, "This is
nice." The beams,
the haze. That's a good, beams and the haze. That was too fun.
I control the haze in our live show, so it's like I have a fog machine. It's like right at my foot, and like the only way to turn it on and off is with a little knob on the back. So I'm like, I time it out between songs or between sections where like, all right, I'm going to put it on the second setting or the third setting, which is like the most amount of fog. And then
Scott is a virtuoso hazer.
I love it. I love it. There's like
just so you know.
To the haze. The haze is like,
but there is. It's a whole, yeah. It's a flow.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
And he was bringing people into the venue because the fog was going out of the door into the street, which it probably should.
Yeah, that's how you get people in there. Yeah.
People were coming in because of that.
Like,
they were like, I want to know what this is. And I was like, it's the haze. What do you think it is? Come listen to some music and we'll haze you out, man. It's a haze out.
It is a haze out. I love this question from Zachary Lindquist. Have you ever been inspired by a movie to write songs with your own twist? Absolutely. There's certain movies that just get under your skin, and you're just like, it's a whole experience, and I walk away from it just like I can totally hear like music and lyrics and everything. Yeah, absolutely. Any medium really. It's like I'll see a painting or a movie, and yeah, like there's certain soundtracks too where like I'm like, this is incredible, and I'll go home and like reimagine things on the piano, so yeah.
I love that. Can't say I've been inspired by particular. I think 2D Cat and we had a song that he was like, this is very never ending story, and so we were just sending like memes of Falcor back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the closest that I've been to like an actual movie inspiring something other than the last song. I don't know why, but I kept thinking of Batman. So for some reason, like that, it's not really about Batman. It could be. You could take it that way if you really wanted to.
Nice.
So, maybe
I
a
love
little
it.
bit there.
I think there's some very inspiring movies. Interstellar for me is like a more modern one that to me is just so expansive. Like the soundtrack, the story itself. You know, like I could write like if I was to like just sit down and I had it like a few weeks, I could just write like an album of songs just inspired by that movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's just such a great movie and soundtrack.
Yeah, that is a great movie and soundtrack. And just the ambiance of the whole thing, it leaves you feeling a certain way.
For sure.
It's so interesting. I can see that being really inspiring.
Yeah.
Tron.
A lot of synths, right? Tron. Yeah, Tron for sure.
Tron
Synths.
is freaking the best. Oh my God. The new Tron.
The new Tron?
Neutron.
The new Tron.
I think I did see it.
All the Daft Punk.
Tron Legacy.
Yeah. Tron Legacy. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Sean is asking, what made you write the song Polar Eclipse?
Polar shift? Is he talking to
shift?
us? Me?
Polar shift? Yes, I think so.
Oh, yeah. Actually, is the song that was about Falcor. No.
Nice.
That was the Never Ending song. If he's talking to Tuna Cat.
I love that. I love that.
The Never Ending song. Yeah.
Nice.
It's actually about that when they were coming. Yeah. When they were coming, for me, it was the lyrics are about like like if the poles were to shift, like the polarity shift that would send the Earth into like ultimate cataclysm. And it's kind of like a love story of what would happen if the poles shifted and the oceans came and took everything and the Earth started crumbling. It's a very apocalyptic, but it was based on like when they were saying, well, the Earth could just be done in like 24 hours if that happened, because everything would go just nice. And then the water's like sloshing around, and I don't know, I took that and ran with it. It's not very Never Ending Story, but the music itself is very oh, actually it is, because it's the Nothing, right?
That is the Nothing. That's totally
the Nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ed is asking what are some of your favorite musical influences?
Is that for all of us?
I think it's
for you, actually. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gosh. Wow. I love a lot of things. I love Ani DeFranco. Ani DeFranco is one of my favorite songwriters. Amanda Palmer, Dresden Dolls. Bjork. Army of Me.
Yes.
Bjork's up there. I also really love Coheed and Cambria because I was in a couple metal bands.
Yeah, they're cool.
I love prog metal, progressive metals, like definitely up there for me. Like in this moment, I really enjoyed some of their music too at the time. And there's a band called Thank You Scientist that's crazy, and you should look them up because they're like jazz infused prog metal, and they have like a saxophone and like a violin and a trumpet, and it's progressive metal, and it's awesome. Especially if you like to go on a run and you're just like beep, 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 beep. Yeah. So yeah, those are a couple of them.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Well, Charles is asking that some people say when they close their eyes and listen to music, they can see it in color. Do any of us see music that way?
Totally.
Sometimes. Depends on how little or how much sleep I have. Seriously.
That's crazy. Have you ever had it cross a different sense? Because one time I was writing a song and I was like, this chord tastes like strawberries, like, and not like natural strawberries. Like I'm tasting like fake strawberries in my mouth with this chord. I was like, this tastes like strawberry flavoring.
No, I can't
That's
say
amazing. I've never had that sense.
That
I
only
feel it in
happened
my
like that
body.
one time. You feel in your body. God.
I
Oh,
feel
like
it in my body.
what does it feel like?
Yes. So I feel when things are out of tune in my body. But like, yeah, I literally feel frequencies in different parts of my body. So yeah.
Wow.
But I haven't seen, I know it's synesthesia, I believe. Like I've worked with some people before that have synesthesia, and it's incredible, and they'll describe it. Especially with like classical choral music, some of the color like paintings that the composers are working with, like they'll describe literally the sound painting, I guess, that's happening.
Yeah.
And I've met some people on the road as well that have synesthesia. So an incredible sense, but I myself don't have synesthesia. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
I knew someone with synesthesia that had perfect pitch only because they could see the pitches as colors, so they just knew they could just name the actual frequency and the pitch based off the color they were seeing, which is insane to me. I wish I had that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
We're getting asked by Sean what our favorite snack is while we're traveling on the road.
Hmm.
I'm curious about that too.
What's everyone's favorite snacks?
Well, we typically get these like Costco boxes of Fig Newtons that I swear by. Like, I don't know, like if I don't have one when we're touring, it's like I need my Fig Newton. It's like, and it has to be coupled with coffee too. Like it's just a specific thing when you're on the road.
That's good.
Yeah.
Is that like a first in the morning, like gotta get the Fig Newton and coffee?
It's there, like on the road, we tend to like make a lot of our own food. So like depending on if we've had time, like sometimes we'll have like pre-made boiled eggs and stuff like that. We could just like have for breakfast, or like cereal with like almond milk and stuff. But my personal favorite is like the Fig Newton, like after we're going. Like it can't be like at the place or whatever we're staying at, like, we might not even have time to have food, but I usually like to just pop one of those Fig Newtons in.
Yeah, those are good. I haven't had one of those in a long time. They're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the smooth ones or the grainy ones? You know what I'm talking about? Like some are like more the grainy.
I think the grainy ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
We just get these specific ones that are like they come in these huge boxes, and then Gordon like organizes it in a weird way where it's like they're just like everywhere. Like you're like opening, the door, and then all of a sudden there's like a stash. Like there's like stashes everywhere. It's awesome. So,
I love it.
Driving the van, you look to the right, and there's just like snacks like laid out for the driver.
Oh yeah, it's great.
You just reach your hand down, you grab something. Oh, protein bar.
That's so funny.
Protein bar, yeah. So yeah, lots of protein bars.
Van mom. We've got one of those. My colleague Lindsay, she's the tour mom. When we're traveling, she's got the snacks. If anyone's hangry, she's got the snacks.
Get me the snacks.
So what are your favorite snacks?
Which one do you like?
Specifically road snacks, because it's a very distinct thing.
It is very specific. I like beef jerky.
Okay.
Yeah. I like beef jerky.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Because like I could say that
protein.
Every region has its own beef jerky too. Like, and it's just dictated by the gas stations as well. But yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't like new beef jerky though. Like new beef jerky's too sweet. Like everything's very sticky sweet. I like when they say the old-fashioned, like I think it's like the dried something beef jerky, old-fashioned beef jerky, where it's salty and dry and not sticky sweet. It's hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard to find.
I know what Tasha's favorite road snack is.
Oh.
I'm not gonna say it.
I'm like, what is my favorite professional road snack? Please do tell. Like, I'm all ears.
Two words.
What is this?
They both start with C.
Oh yes. Actually, so leading into this, we do have some wonderful experiences in the Midwest, specifically in Wisconsin. This is where my favorite road snacks occur, and they are called cheese curds. Absolutely love cheese curds. Yes, I did not discover them until we were actually in Wisconsin, and it's the first time I ever tried them. I was like, what is this magic in my mouth?
Cheesy. Yes.
So
For
good.
Yes.
sure.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Cheese curds are so good. I didn't have them till I
Yes.
moved out here either. I never
Oh,
had
they
them
have them in
before.
DC.
They have them on the East Coast too. Yeah.
That's
down here in
amazing.
Maryland. Mhm.
You don't find them here in LA, so
No.
it's always kind of a treat. Yes.
Yeah, I would never have even thought it sounded good before.
Yeah.
It's really
Driving through the
good.
South, the boiled peanuts too.
Oh, I love
Oh,
some
boiled
boiled
peanuts.
peanuts. Oh my gosh, I love those. Those are
Yes.
so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd
Like up for tour.
becomes like a prerogative. Like once we hit like the certain states in the South, Tosh is like, all right, we're getting boiled peanuts. Like,
Mhm.
Yes,
Stop
boiled
there.
peanuts,
so
they're so
good.
good.
mhm.
They sell them on my at the little it's not a little gas station, the PX on my base. They sell them in these big cans. They were like getting rid of these boiled peanuts. And I bought like 2 huge cans of them home. And
Nice.
my husband was like, "Ew." I was like, "What do you mean they're so good?" I ate them all.
Well, y'all, I think we're gonna wrap things up. We've got a rehearsal
Mhm.
later on, actually soon. And I just wanted to say thank you so much, Hazel, for joining
Yay.
us and sharing your wonderful you with us today. We're so grateful.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
Yes. And then
Yes,
thank y'all,
awesome having
thank y'all
you
so
on.
much. Thank you so much to our community for just being so wonderful and fun and supportive. Hazel, you got some new followers on YouTube's. There were people that were sending some love and support over. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with us on our Sunday stream, and hope y'all have an amazing rest of your week. And we will see you next time.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we'll see you
all.
all next time. Thanks for
See you next time.
tuning in.
See you on the road soon.
Bye.